Before we get started, I'm going to show you how to access CRS within Connect MLS. The icon in the top right corner over here takes me directly into CRS. Also in Connect MLS, under the Tools, Resources, and Links tab, I have access to CRS. When you have a listing open on Connect MLS, click on Additional Info. And not only do you have access to a property report from CRS, you have access to the tax comparables with it.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting us to host this webinar with you guys. We are so excited to be able to bring you some overview and some prospecting as we go through today's webinar. So I've worked for CRS just under 6 years. I am the customer education manager. We have taught around the country and in Canada. So we're okay. We've got some experience under our belt sometimes. So today we're really going to, dive into how do you use the public tax records to prospect? As you look at the MLS tax suite, you have access to all of the properties within the county. Whether it went through your MLS or not, you will find those properties in the MLS tax suite. You will also find transfers. As transfers go through the county, they don't necessarily go through the MLS. So let's just hop right on in since it's a Thursday. We can use a little bit of Easter terminology. We are going to start from the dashboard. This is just a reminder for everyone. You either go through the CRS icon, and you can go through this particular icon if you need to look up a property that has never been sold through the MLS. There are properties that, they were built in like 1970s and it still has the same owner. You will need to go into the public tax records to locate that property, just to get that simple information to go ahead and prospect. However, that's not the only way. There's multiple ways to access the MLS tax suite. We can also go into Paragon. And as Paragon's loading, there's actually two different ways to access the MLS tax suite. One is going to be by the market monitor. And this is specific to a listing. So if it's 123 Main Street, you can go from that listing into the public tax records for that 123 Main Street. So it's a little different than tapping on the initial icon we just covered. And you can go into any one of these options. Let's just go into price change. Why not? As we go, you've got an option for the plug. It's an integrated tool. This integrated tool is important for us because we give you very specific data sets you can go in and view for that property. Maybe you want to take a look at the map and prospect from the map. Maybe you're the agent for this property. Maybe you want to go in and look at the public tax records and look at the history, sales, mortgage history, maybe even do a little investigation on the FEMA information. That is a direct link into that information or data. We can also look at comparables. As you know, we do collect all of the sales from the county. So conducting a CMA through CRS, you have the potential to have properties that were sold outside your MLS. So it gives you that full picture, along with Paragon, which is a great tool where you can conduct a CMA. All right, we're going to close out our actions. Second method to go into the MLS tax suite is by using your tax icon at the very top of your dashboard. Tap on tax. We've got the integration point, CRS data, tax search. Now we do use the single service logon, which basically means you don't have to remember a username and password. What we do in the background is we authenticate your credentials and log you in to the MLS tax suite. And it also allows for more integration points. And as we drop into the MLS tax suite, Welcome to our simple search page. I'm sure most of you seen this page, come familiar with this page. There's a couple of nuances with this page. In the upper left-hand corner, we've added a home button. So if you're anywhere else in our system, you can always tap on the home button to return back to your simple search page. Logo also acts as a home button. So the Georgia MLS logo is a home button as well. To the far right, settings. When you guys see settings, I want you to think end user customizations and different options to view additional data. As you look at some of our screens, we can actually use this screen. You see the address, parcel ID, and owner, which is great, simple information for prospecting, right? Because we have the owner and we have the address. Well, maybe you need to do some research on a property. So you might need to look at property characteristics. You might need to look at land value. Well, to access that additional data, we can go into settings and look at all of the different options. Because when all is said and done, you have access to 59 columns of data within the system. Because we know not every search is going to be the same. Property characteristics will not be important if you are running a search for vacant land. What's more important for those particular searches is maybe lot dimensions, maybe land value, maybe even price per acre, depending on if it's a multi acreage parcel. Got a custom results list here. And this is what we're going to, I'm just kind of teasing you with this section right now. We are going to go show you where it is in the system. But to prove my point, this is all of the data you have access to. Just because what you see on the screen in some areas technically doesn't mean that's all you have access to. All right, let's go ahead and scroll up. You've got your branding, email address, default counties, and search settings. These are all areas you can go in and make the text suite yours. Your branding allows you to enter your photo, contact information. You know, this is important when you email a property report, client report, or map, because the client knows who to contact back once they have had a chance to review the information. We always like to say email address. Please make your life easy. Anytime you email any of the data out of our system, if you have your default email address, all you have to worry about is where's it going? Where is the email going to go to? And I don't know if you know this, you can add up to 20 email addresses. I don't know if that, I mean, that's a lot, but you know, we always give you those options. Next is your default counties. Again, this is going to be a preference for you. Tap in your county box and you have a phenomenal amount of counties. Here's a trick. If you start to type in the county you are looking for, your drop-down menu will refine its results. Tap. And now I have a county as my default county. Now, do we add one? Can we add more? Yes, you can add up to 4. Where do you work the most? It's really up to you and your preferences when you're searching. Do you have to set up a default county? Absolutely not. The system just reverts back to the last county you were searching. So it's really, again, it's a preference. And as a tip, I know this sounds silly, please make sure you tap on save. That is the most important thing. And as you probably guessed, I probably have done that and didn't tap on save. Lesson learned. Last one before we really get into simple search. Everyone is defaulted to our simple search. Add an address, go to the property report, or go to a results list. You might find yourself going to other search options built into the MLS tag suite, like our advanced search. Advanced search allows you to add multiple filters to generate a list of properties that you might want to prospect to. Our map search, hey, if you love maps, that is the perfect search option for you. And what happens is, as you slide in from the CRS icon from the dashboard and the tax icon in Paragon, you would be automatically directed to advanced search or map search. Currently, I'm pretty sure everybody's still defaulted to that simple search. So again, it's up to you. All right, let's go back to our previous page and look at simple searching. You've got your property search, searching all of the tax records. You got prospecting. You're going to note that there are two very distinct manners in which you can prospect through CRS. One is from a property report, which is a center. You have a center. When you prospect from the simple search page, it's called wide net prospecting. You do not have a center. You might choose some zip codes, maybe some school zones. Maybe you're looking within the county for properties that have a specific total building square feet. So just different ways you can prospect. You can even prospect to cash buyers on our prospecting page. But that's not the only ways we can prospect. As we go down, you've got your property search, your foreclosure search, county box, and then you've got your simple search. There's actually two different searches from our simple search. One is called starts with. So as you begin to type, everything in your drop-down menu starts with what you're typing. And just as a side note, for street addresses, we actually pull the directionals for you, so you don't have to worry about the directionals themselves. But as you can see, owner's name, I'll start with lake, same with street address, and then subdivision. So again, this is our starts with, and this is a fantastic search. I'm pretty sure most people use this search. Well, we have a hidden search, as we like to say, and it is a wild card search. So what happens when you only get a portion of a subdivision name? You know, I'm sure you guys all work with clients that give you the entire subdivision name. They never say to you, oh, I think it has Oak in the name. You guys are, get the whole situation. So wildcard search in our system is going to start with this special character of a percent sign. It's a contained search. So instead of searching by what it starts with, this is going to search the entire name. So within that whole subdivision name, does it contain the letters O, A, K? So as we look at our drop-down menu, you're going to see those variations in owner's name. So we do know it works with owner's name. Street address, we also know it works with subdivision. If you happen to forget about the wildcard, there's a question mark at the end of our search box. Use a wildcard percent if you want to get variations of the term, or if you're unsure about the spelling. The example percent lake would yield Lakeside, Lakeview, and Cooper Lake. All right, let's go ahead and look up a subdivision and take a peek at the results page. So we're going to look at Lakeview. Now, as we always like to say, let CRS do the heavy lifting. Watch your drop-down menu as you are typing. So as I'm looking down, I'm going to go specifically into our subdivision. You can call it a category. We like to call it a bucket of data, and tap View More. And as I see, Lakeview Oaks has different phases. We have 3 options here. And again, this is just the way the assessor records the subdivisions. Well, how do we pull this entire subdivision? Well, once you see the phases in your drop-down menu, as you see on my screen, stop typing. Scroll over to Submit, and we're pulling all of those phases. Why would we pull this particular subdivision? Maybe you guys just listed and sold a property within this subdivision, and you want to send out some marketing materials. You want to say, hey, listen, I just sold this specific property within your subdivision for over 30% asking price. So quickly, with our results page, upper left, you will always see the results. You've got your MLS listing icons, the ability to save your results, because I know for a fact we all get interrupted all day long. So maybe you're working with this list, you've made some modifications. You fortunately get distracted or you get interrupted. You can always save your results and come back and pick it up when you have time. We can use filters to refine the list, noting you've got owner's name down to MLS ID. And then as we talk, there's actually 3 different methods to viewing the data. You've got your map at the top where it says map view, tap, opens up, shows you the first 15. And as you hover over the numbers, I call this a snippet of assessor data. It's like a snapshot of that property in assessor data. You can hover over any one. To the far right, you've got your pan in and out buttons. Got your directional. We can switch the map view. I always teach in road because road's a little bit easier to project, but note that you can go in and adjust this to aerial. And just as a tip or a hint, you can go into your settings and adjust your map view to aerial, making all your maps aerial view. Compass. We all love to play that nosy neighbor game, right? We no longer see our results. We're like, oh, which way did we go? We can tap on the compass button and now our results are centered. Maybe you have a client that wants to live in this subdivision, but only in that small section. We can use our drawing tools to refine our list and then prospect. And then you've got your measuring tools. Let's go to the list view. So this is what you see. This is fantastic for prospecting. We've got what we need. So if I scroll to the bottom, I can do individual property removal or keep. If I wanted to remove properties or keep, I tap in the boxes next to the addresses. And then I can go ahead, either remove or keep. And as I've been kind of going through, you can prospect, you can export the data. We can create labels. And as I scroll down, here's our labels box, which I will go through thoroughly when we go into prospecting page itself. Or you can export. The best thing about export is you have 59 columns of data you have access to. You can pick and choose. And sometimes I like to say, if you're brave enough to export all 59 columns, you can do that by tapping in the all button. And that will actually select all the columns and then go ahead and export. And again, that's a very quick and efficient way to generate a list of properties in a subdivision. And remember, we have the entire subdivision as they have been recorded at the assessor's office. So some of these properties might not have gone through your MLS. So that's a big advantage of using our quick, simple search and then going to our results page. All right. You can also print the list, FYI. Let's go up. Let's go back to our simple search. And as I said, we can prospect or export data from most pages within our system. If you go to our advanced search page, you've got your county box along with options to save criteria, save your results. We have a map. And these maps are absolutely fantastic. The reason why I say that is looking at how the assessor records the properties and sometimes how we look at properties might not necessarily be the same in terms of, we can look at waterfront property and we say, oh, that's a waterfront property. The assessor might have recorded that as a single family home. That's why the maps become such an amazing tool, because we know where the waterways are and we can draw a shape on the map. But here's the thing. Not only can I draw shapes on the map, I can use the filters below. And then I can go ahead and export that data. So we've got this fantastic map. We have an even a better map. Underneath the map, you have an option for view larger map. Filters on the left, map in the middle, tools on the right. I can draw multiple shapes. So note that you're not limited to just one. And also an advantage of using maps is you can actually cross county lines. You don't have to add that county to the box. It will automatically add it as you cross that county line on your map. So let's just run through a quick scenario here to get you a little familiar with utilizing this map to prospect. We're going to use the last sales price. We're going to adjust it accordingly. The map's going to light up with where those properties are located. It is a very integrated system when you start to work with the filters in the map. We're going to look at owner type, and we're just going to look at absentee owners. So we know we have over 5,000 properties. I can use the maps to refine by going to my drawing tool, which is the magnifying glass, or I go to our advanced search page. And we can take a look from this perspective. The only reason why I like to show this is because we actually haven't chosen a property type. So we might have commercial property, agricultural properties. With this results page, I can specifically select residential and update. We can get even as specific as the city. So we have 3,755. And we go ahead and put a city in. When utilizing our advanced search, I typically always say keep your criteria wide enough. Make sure we generate a list of properties. And then from your results page, we can refine it even more so that you can export the data out of the system. So now I have 44 properties. I can look at it from this perspective in terms of prospecting. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research on the properties. I can select the custom results view. Remember, like a long time ago, I said something about adjusting your columns of data. Well, this is where you can do this. This is where you elect the columns of data you see. So we're going to go up. We're going to go to our settings option. We'll go to that custom results list. We've got our defaults, which you might not necessarily want to see our defaults, which is okay. You can uncheck some of those and begin to check the ones you want to see when it comes to your results list. You can also order them in the manner you want to see them. What's most important to you? Do you always want to see the owner name first? Or do you want to move subdivision to the first column? You go to the right-hand side, left click, drag and drop. Again, make sure you tap on save. Let's go up, we'll go back. And again, we can scroll to the bottom. We've got our options to create labels. So again, we can prospect from this results page as well. You can export into a CSV, send that off to your vendor who's creating your marketing materials. All right, we're going to go back to our results page. You're going to note in the upper left-hand corner, we still have 44 properties. The changes that I made on the results page will translate back to our original search page. As good practice, I will always see my widget, apparently, when I go to clear my criteria. I like to clear my criteria before I go back to our advanced search, tap, and now we are back to our filters. When it comes to our filters, you can use multiple filters at once. I'm just going to run a quick search so you guys can see. So if I wanted to run a search where it's got the school zone name, select the school zone name, because I know this is a big question for you guys. I can go down to the very, very bottom where it says search by listings. I can select for sale, tap submit. So there's 38 properties within that school district that is currently listed for sale. So we're actually using two sets of data here. We're using your MLS data and we're using the school zone data to be able to generate that list. And all I have to do from here is tap on export list and send that off to the client. All right, let's go up and let's go back. All right, we're going to actually now start to prospect from the property report. So we're going to go back to our simple search page. And we're going to go into 4056 Ashford. See, I don't even have to type in the road or street name. It's already populated. Got to make your life easy. Watch that drop down box. And we are off. So when you start to work with a property report and prospecting, there's actually two different ways to prospect. And it really kind of determines how you want to prospect. At the very top, you've got your tools. So we know we're on the property report. This is where you'll find your comparables. And with comparables, you have two options. One is the newer interface, and then you have our quick CMA. Prospecting, and then your facts and figures. So let's take a look at prospecting from the property report from this point of view. As you tap, we are now on the prospecting page. So this is prospecting with a center. So your map is going to show, I like to call it an upside down teardrop. The marker is basically what it is. And left side, you've got your filters. Your right column will be blank because we have not actually generated a list of properties. And if you are a map person, in the upper left and right hand corner, well, we can go ahead and expand the map. So it is totally across your screen. I'm going to tap on the arrows. You've got your toolbar, drawing tools. Circle is basically your radius. So there's just a little slight verbiage change there. You could undo your shape, center, zoom in and out, and then you've got your map views. Let's go ahead and draw a shape. Let's do a circle. You want to draw a radius around this specific property. Just tap on your subject properties parcel and then widen it out. Left click will end your radius. You'll know that you've ended your radius because it'll say, do you want to include or exclude the selected area? Slight difference here than most of our other maps in the system. We allow you to exclude selections here. But we're going to go ahead and just include. So as the map is lighting up, far right, properties found. Now we have an option to create labels or export. For me, I want to make sure of a couple of things because I know in some neighborhoods we get some convenience stores, maybe some commercial properties mixed in. So I'm going to use the far left filters and we're going to use property type. And I'm going to make sure we're dealing solely with residential. And I'm going to look at the recent sales option. You can remove sales from 0 to 18 months. So any kind of recent sales, we can remove those. And mind you, when we say recent sales, CRS is just not including the sales through the MLS. We are including all sales from the county. Anything that has a sales history within the last 18 months, we're going to remove from your list. So now we have 460. Well, what happens if you remember you have to generate another list of properties? You do not have to create two different lists. We can go ahead and say, scroll over to exactly where that set of properties you want to create an additional shape for. select your drawing tool, and we'll use the polygon. Polygon, tap on the property you want to start with. You're going to see a purple circle, which becomes important. Left click will end the line. And you can see I'm not being very careful, which is good because I'm not very careful when I draw. But I know that even if my line barely touches a property, I'm still going to include it in my list. And with the polygon, you will end at the purple circle. So that's your starting and end point. Left tap. I know I've closed it because, again, I've got our include or exclude box. Now, what happens within that secondary shape is this. My filters are still going to be applied to that second shape as it generates that list. So note that as we go through. Now I have 1,718 properties. So let's take a look at your results list. We can go ahead and create labels. We can go ahead and export. You've got your legend. And this is just a legend, is basically your MLS listing legend. 5,000 exports per month. They are refreshed every first of the month. Then we can take a look at the results list with some individual ways to modify the results list with keep or remove. And again, we can tap in the boxes next to the addresses. Maybe you want to scroll through your results list. Underneath keep, we'll see that we are on page 1 of 43. Just tap on the arrows. You'll be able to go through the entire results list. All right, we're going to go ahead and hover over the square mileage or the acreage to delete a shape. So when you go to delete a shape, it's located in the center of the shape. I have 1.19 square miles for my secondary shape. Hover over, delete. However, I can also elect to move the shape if I need to. Maybe I was a little off and I need to move it. I can move it anywhere on the map. In a sense, we're just going to go ahead and delete it. So we're back to our original shape. If I delete my original shape, go back to just seeing our blue marker. What's going to happen is the system is just going to use the filters for the entire county. So you will see results. We just go ahead and clear. That's all it is. All right, let's go back to the property report. Secondary way to prospect, and it really kind of depends on where you want to draw your shape. Do you want to draw your shapes on the prospecting map, or do you want to use the property report, view larger map? So I tap on view larger map. Noting in the upper left-hand corner, you have our filters. And these are layers that you can place on the map themselves. And then you have our drawing tools. So you want to go into prospecting page with a shape, or do you want to draw it from prospecting page? It's really kind of up to you. Just to show you, we'll go ahead and I'm really not good at freehand because it's every move of your hand. Looks funny when I do it, but I implore you to go ahead and work with that. I'm going to use the rectangle and just spread out our shape, tap, and then include. Here, we're just going to say you have 557 properties. We can go to a results page, which we've done, and knowing that we can create labels or export, we can also go to the prospecting page. And this is what it'll look like. So instead of just seeing the blue marker, we now have got the shape. Only difference. And we can go in and still continue to use those filters if we wanted to remove sales from our list, specifically, well, I don't want to say sales, I want to say remove all active listings. When you're working with our MLS listing filter, it's an include or exclude option. So anything that's for sale down to expired, we check any one of those options, we're going to include that in our shape or in our results list. but I'm just going to go ahead and remove and update. So we just remove 7, and then I can go ahead and export. So that's only the slight difference is, where do you want to start your shape when it comes to the property report? All right, we're going to delete our shape. We're going to go back to that initial prospecting option that I was talking about at the very beginning. So I tap on the Georgia MLS logo. Let's talk about prospecting from WideNet. We've really kind of been working with the maps. Let's flip it and start with the filters this time. But we're going to do it from a WideNet perspective. So I'm going to tap on prospecting. And as you can see, we have nothing on the map, nothing on the right-hand side. So let's run through a couple of examples. We can add up to 4 counties. Just below that, you have your search box option. This search box option is similar to your simple search. You can search by owner name, address, subdivision, listing agent. However, there's an advantage to utilizing this search box versus a simple search. We can add multiples here. So let's go ahead and type in. And as you see, as I'm typing, you're going to notice that that drop-down menu appears with a scroll bar. So we've got owner's name, view more, street address, view more, and then subdivision. As we were walking through our simple search page, we covered the starts with and then the contains search. Well, we've got options to run those searches from the prospecting page as well. And as we look down, we can go ahead and start adding multiple phases to the subdivision. And maybe we want to save this. We know that we're going to run this same search in a year. I'm going to tap on Save Search Criteria. You can name it whatever you like. And I'll tap on Submit. Say OK. Time has passed. It's a year. And you want to run that same search. You'll locate that same search to the left of your Save Search Criteria. Tap. We autofill the information for you. And then we can determine, do you want to create labels or export? So just a different way. Save time in the end. So let's run through 2 scenarios. We're going to use the school zones first. Maybe you need to pull a list of properties that are currently listed for sale. So I'm going to tap on school zones, and we're going to look at the high school zone. And I'm going to make sure we're zoomed out. Multiple options here. Left-hand side, you can go through and check the boxes of the school zones you want to prospect to, or you can utilize our map. As you hover over the school zones, you're going to see the school zone name appear. Just left tap, and you can choose multiples. And as I'm selecting the school zones, the list on the left is automatically checking those specific options. Some of our filters are going to require you to update. Some will automatically update. So I'm going to go ahead and update. And I'm sure we're going to come up with over 5,500. Now, as it's thinking, we're going to look at the MLS listings. As I said, this is dual. This is an include or exclude. I can tap on for sale and update. And as that is updating, we can look. I always just do this as a cautionary. I always make sure I'm on residential or whatever type of property I'm looking for. Currently, my internet decided to say it's going slow today. So I do apologize. But once this pops up, we can elect to create labels or export. Let's go ahead and tap on export. When you come into this specific option, you're going to note that remove exact duplicates. So you're not prospecting to the same person multiple times if they own multiple properties in your list. You can go ahead and export. You can edit the fields, which is where you can choose up to 59 columns of data. Select the bedroom's bath, maybe the owner's address, maybe the property's address, and then export. So let's take a look. And don't forget, if you tap on all, it's all 59 columns. So we are going to open up the CSV file. And again, CSV is used as a universal formatted file. Save it to whatever software, Excel, Numbers, Google Sheets, CRM products you have on your device. And this is what it'll look like. All right, we're going to X out. Let's go ahead and generate a list of properties and then create some labels. We're going to get boundaries and zip codes. Works just like your school zones. You can either select the zip codes from the list on the left, or you can go ahead and select them from the map and update. As we continue down, we can look and remove active listings. Owner type. Do you want to prospect to absentee owners, or do you want to prospect to owners occupied? We can look at ownership duration. Maybe you're looking for someone that has equity built in their property, or maybe you're looking at for someone that might be looking to downsize. They've owned their current property for 20 years and on. Maybe they're looking to downsize. Appraised value, property type, which we've seen. We're going to remove sales. As we go down, mortgage age. This is a good way to say, well, see if someone has paid off their mortgage. It's 15 to 30. You put 30 on. Maybe you can find some people that own their property outright. Cash buyers. Someone paid cash for the property. Total building square feet. So we're just going to enter 2,500, 3,500. And then we can go ahead and export. So we have 201. We're going to look at create labels. Our properties found says there's 201. However, we're going to only create 176 property labels. Why? Because we have that exact duplicate checked. So that's why sometimes you might see a discrepancy. You can uncheck some of these, but we're going to skip records with no zip +4. You can sort your labels by zip code, address, owner's name. How do you want your labels to look? First name first or last name first? What address do you want to use? We're defaulted to the owner's address. So that's the mailing address. Maybe you're going after renters. You can go after the property address. We can uncheck some of the options. You've got your 3 AVER label types. Click the starting label for your print. Please make sure you choose your document format. This is important because PDFs tend to be difficult in editing unless you have that editing software. It's much easier to edit any labels by using Word. And create labels. Open it up. We started on the label that I had selected, and then sheet number 2 starts on label 1. Thank you for inviting us. Anytime you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me.